deep inside the earth, where no light has ever reached on its own, a hand moves through absolute darkness. The cave stretches inward like the throat of the world, cold, damp, silent. Not a shelter tonight, something else entirely. A torch is pressed to the wall, and in its amber flicker, a bison appears, shoulders hunched, legs mid-stride. Drawn with intention, with knowledge, with something that can only be called vision. This image is 36,000 years old. The hand that made it belonged to a mind not so different from the one watching now. The torch breathes. The bison seems to move. The ancient and the present share the same wall. What drove a human being into the deepest darkness of the earth? Not to survive, but to create. 30,000 years ago, ice sheets pressed down from the north. Winds cut across open steppe with nothing to stop them. These were Homo sapiens, fully modern in mind, consuming every waking hour in survival. A storm rises at the edge of the plain. The group moves, they always move. The land does not belong to them, they belong to the land. And yet, across dozens of sites in Europe, Asia, and Africa, researchers have found pigments stored in shells and hollow bones. Ochre, hematite, charcoal. These were not food. These were not tools. These were the supplies of someone with a purpose beyond survival. The caves of what is now France and Spain were already waiting. Dark, patient, ready to hold what no spoken word could keep. The question was never whether they could create. The question was when the moment would arrive. It may have begun with a hand pressed flat against cold stone, fingers spread, palm flushed to the rock, and breath blown through a hollow bone packed with red ochre powder. When the hand lifted, a negative image remained. 5 fingers, a palm, a shape unmistakably human, unmistakably intentional. The stone had remembered the hand. The oldest confirmed hand stencils, found in Sulawesi, Indonesia, are at least 45,500 years old. The act of pressing a hand to a wall and making it permanent was not a European invention. It was a human instinct. The artist steps back. The torch lifts. The bison fills the wall. Massive, breathing, alive in the flickering light. The first time any human hand has pulled an image out of stone. Early artists did not fight the wall's natural topography. They used it. A bulge becomes a shoulder. A hollow becomes an eye socket. The wall itself was already an animal waiting to be seen. The outline of the bison takes shape. The back curves first, then the heavy head, then forelegs, caught mid-motion, bent at the knee with anatomical accuracy. The pigments required sophisticated preparation. Ochre and hematite ground on flat stones mixed with animal fat or bone marrow, applied with fingers with fur pads or blown through hollow bird bones. The artist steps back. The torch lifts. The bison fills the wall. Massive, breathing, alive in the flickering light. The first time any human hand has pulled an image out of stone. At Chauvet Cave in southern France, charcoal from painting sessions dates to approximately 36,000 years ago. Among the oldest figurative art ever discovered, the artists worked in multiple sessions over generations, returning to the same walls. They touched the image, fingertips to dried ochre, making contact with the thing they made, confirming it is real. Art had been born, not from comfort, not from leisure, from a mind that could hold the image of a living animal and transfer it to stone. One image became many, At Lascaux alone, over 600 painted animals across 17 galleries, created over thousands of years by hands that never knew each other. A second figure enters the cave, younger, watching. The older hand guides the younger hand to the wall, not gripping, not correcting, only showing where the pressure must go. Children's handprints have been found alongside adult handprints at multiple sites. Small fingers, small palms. Children brought into the cave not as observers, but as participants. The cave had become a library, a record of the visible world. It required no writing, no alphabet. The images spoke in a language older than language itself. Fa. The paintings changed not what was possible in the body, but what was possible in the mind. From the caves of France and Spain to the rock shelters of South Africa, the cliff faces of Australia, the gorges of India. Wherever Homo sapiens moved, marks followed. Every alphabet on Earth descends from a hand-pressing pigment to stone. Cities would rise, libraries, cathedrals, space telescopes. None of it arrives without the foundational act, the decision to make a mark that outlasts the body that made it. Every museum on Earth is a cave. The painter of that wall lived 36,000 years ago. No name recorded, no grave marked, no monument raised, and yet the work remains, still present, still speaking, still demanding to be seen. The torch dims, the cave recedes. The animals hold their positions on the wall, exactly where the hands left them. Outside, 36,000 years have passed. A slow pull back through the cave entrance. Darkness releases to pale light. The world outside is vast, indifferent, and full of marks.